Jody here, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here on my channel, I talk about Broadway, books, and television. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving out my TV superlatives for things on television this year that really stood out to me, both the good and the bad. So without any further ado, let's get on to today's video. So the first category is going to be for a TV show that I wasn't really sad to see go. And that would go to the Odyssey on ABC. So the Odyssey is a show that I was very much looking forward to, watching when I first heard about it. And before, I get further on in talking about the show, yes, technically the show premiered in 2024, but since the first season and last season ended in 2025, I feel like it's still okay to talk about, as it's still a show that was on television in 2025. So now that that's out of the way. But yeah, I was really looking forward to the show, mostly based on the trailer. Like, whoever put that trailer together deserves an award, because that was a really good trailer. And the show looked just so interesting to me. It had a really great cast with Joshua Jackson in the leading role, and the premise of the show just seemed really interesting and intriguing to me. And like I said, it was very much a show I was looking forward to. But unfortunately, after watching a handful of episodes, I just found myself to be extremely bored when watching the show, I'm sad to say. And even though I love the cast and I love the premise for the show, I just felt like the show fell flat and was just not at all exciting or interesting, and I just found it to be, unfortunately, a bit boring. That's just my opinion. We all have one, and that's just mine on the show. Moving on to the next category, which would be for unnecessary cliffhanger for a TV show, and that would go to the show The Better Sister on Amazon Prime. So if you didn't know, The Better Sister on Amazon Prime is a television series adaptation of the book by the same name by Alfred Burke. It is a book that I did read earlier this year, and I really like to say, as far as book adaptations go, this was a really good one. Better Sister was definitely one of my favorite shows of 2025. As much as I loved the show, there were a few things about it that I didn't love that much. One being that unnecessary cliffhanger at the very end of the season finale. After I watched the season finale, I looked into seeing if the show was going to have another season, or if there were plans for another season, or if the show hoped that there would be another season. But everything I came across when I looked that up was that there were really no plans for another season, which begs the question, then why the unnecessary cliffhanger where we now have more questions? And now I would like a season 2 because of that cliffhanger. So basically, if you didn't read the book, and this is giving absolutely nothing away about the book or the show, the book does not leave on a cliffhanger whatsoever. The book definitely has very much a definitive ending. So if the show was never planning on doing another season, or didn't have hopes for another season beyond season 1, then my question is, why not just keep the ending that the book had, since there is no cliffhanger in the book? With all that being said, it's a really great show, one I would still highly recommend. It just, like I said, had an interesting way to end the show, since it wasn't really necessary, since the show wasn't planning on doing another season. But, things can always change, and maybe they are hoping and they just don't want to say it. I don't know. Now moving on to the next category, which would be for most disappointing TV on Renewal. And that would go to Dexter Original Sin. Dexter Original Sin was actually my favorite television show of 2024. And so when I first heard about the renewal, I was like, that's amazing, that's wonderful, that's great. Like, I'm so excited for season 2. Why Dexter Original Sin was one of my favorite shows of last year is because it's so hard to do like a prequel series or a revival series or a reboot series and really have that spin-off of the original series just feel so much like the original series. And Dexter Original Sin really did a good job of feeling like the original series Dexter was back on TV again. I really loved how the storyline played out for season 1. I thought it was a really good one. As well as the cast. I thought the cast was just absolutely amazing, and I thought they really did a good job of portraying the original characters on the original series Dexter. The show just had so much going for it. Critics and audiences really liked it a lot, so I wasn't at all surprised when a season 2 was announced. I mean, that being said, when I was watching the first season, I never felt like it was super necessary to have another season, primarily because really after that prequel series is the original series Dexter. The prequel series was really just there to let us know how Dexter got to be Dexter. So because of that, I never really thought it was necessary for another season. But then just watching how the season played out and just liking the show overall so much, I was like, yes, thank you. I would love another season. At some point throughout this year, I randomly found out that the show was no longer going to have a season 2, that the TV renewal had been reversed, and we will no longer be getting another season. And I have to say, I'm super sad and disappointed to hear that that's what happened. I was holding out hope that maybe another network would pick up the show, for another season, but I haven't heard anything about that recently, so I'm kind of slowly giving up hope that that might happen. I have to say, I haven't been this disappointed about a TV unrenewal since Glow got their TV renewal reversed, which was a show that was supposed to have, I believe, like one more season, and then the show was going to be over. And yeah, I just haven't been disappointed about a TV unrenewal since that show. So yeah, it happens to really good shows here and there, but it's always disappointing when it does, because I was looking forward to that second season so much. So the next category is for most uneven television season of the year. And that would be the morning show on Apple TV for the latest season, which I believe is season 4. I love the morning show. I think it's one of the best shows on television. It's a really good show with a really great cast, and every season is usually absolutely fantastic and amazing. What was different about this season versus the previous seasons is that usually on the show there's one huge storyline throughout the whole season that all the characters are involved in some way. And then of course the characters also have like side storylines as well. But for this season, the latest season, there really wasn't that major storyline that affected all the characters in the same way. Instead, all the characters kind of had their own major storylines, and that was kind of how the show played out. So because of that, it kind of felt like you were watching a bunch of different television shows within one show, and the season just felt a bit uneven because of that. What I really feel works best about this show is when all the characters are kind of like in the same storyline, which I feel like this season among the characters, there was a lot of separation and division between them. That's what I missed about this season, was that all the characters were kind of like in their own worlds versus each other's worlds. Being said, by the season finale, there was kind of like one storyline where all the characters were involved in, and they were all kind of back in each other's lives more than they had been throughout the season, and the season did kind of come back together because of that. I kind of feel like I do understand why the show was written in the way that it was for the latest season, like to show that separation among the characters and how they weren't really in part of each other's lives. But even though I understand it, it just felt a bit of an uneven season to me because of that. With all that being said, I still really love this show a lot. I'm still very much looking forward to next season. And yeah, it's still a really great show. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. And now moving on to the next category, which would be for the worst series finale of 2025. And that would go to And Just Like That on HBO Max. Just Like That, in case you didn't know, is a revival series of the original series Sex and the City. I actually really liked the revival series And Just Like That. It's like a fun show. And I was sad to hear that it wasn't going to be renewed for another season. At some point during season 3, it was announced that And Just Like That would not have another season, and season 3 would be the final season. And then, you know, it's like, well, I'm disappointed, but, you know, it happens to great shows all the time. And then I got even more disappointed when I saw the series finale. I did not like the series finale at all. I kind of thought the episode was kind of like nothing. I felt nothing from it. I got nothing from it. I couldn't help but wonder, since the finale was kind of like nothing, if perhaps the show, when they were making season 3, they maybe thought perhaps they weren't going to be renewed. So that's when I can't help but wonder, when exactly did the show find out they weren't going to be renewed for another season? Was it possibly when they were already in the process of making season 3 and they weren't sure, you know, would this be the final season? And so when they were looking at the finale, they were like, maybe we could do a finale that could serve as a series finale if we weren't going to get renewed. But if we do get renewed, it could also serve as a season finale. That's what the series finale of And Just Like That felt like. It felt like a season finale. It didn't feel like a series finale. Hope is, maybe since the finale was so widely disliked, I don't believe I'm the only one that disliked it. I think it was a pretty disliked finale, that maybe HBO Max at some point will give the show, you know, a movie to make, and they can wrap up all the storylines and have a much better finale than the one we got with the season 3 series finale. I'm hoping, but you know, who knows? But I'm hoping, because you can't just leave the show like that. It was bad. It was just bad and disappointing, and once again bad. That's my hope, at least, for the show, because I would like to think that maybe we'll get a better finale than the one we got, because that one was just, like I said, not very good. So now moving on to the next category, which would be for a show that I'm really glad I gave a second chance to, and that show would be I Love LA on HBO. I saw the trailer for I Love LA. I was really looking forward to the show. I thought, this looks like a really fun new show, and I'm really excited to watch it. I watched the first episode and I have to say I did not like the show at all. And I think it was mostly because I found the characters on the show to be very unlikable. Then one night when I was recently bored and I couldn't, find a TV show to watch, that being said, there are so many television shows I'm currently behind on or new shows that look interesting to me that I haven't yet started. I'm a really picky TV watcher when it comes to television shows these days. I really have to be in the mood to want to watch a show to watch it. So that's why I'm like literally behind on like so many shows that I watch or new shows that I hear are amazing. I'm just like not in the mood to watch them. So that's why I'm so behind on everything. But I found myself thinking, maybe I'll give this I Love LA show a second chance and check out the second episode. I watched it and I actually really liked the second episode a lot. I don't think there was anything particularly special about the second episode. It was just like I didn't take the show as seriously perhaps as I did the first time around. It's kind of just like a fun, carefree show about living life and making mistakes and just having fun with your friends. It's kind of like that kind of show. And after I watched the second episode, like I said, I really started to like the show. And the characters even kind of grew on me the more and more episodes that I watch. I kind of find them to be like lovable and endearing in like sometimes in a likable way. But I don't know, I really came to like the characters a lot after watching the rest of the episodes. And now I believe I'm caught up on the whole season. So yeah, it's a really great show and I'm glad I gave it a second chance. The next category is Best Twist on a TV Show in 2025. That show would go to Paradise on Hulu. Wow. I mean, this is a show that's kind of hard to talk about because there is a really big twist that happens within that first episode. I'm not going to really delve in too much into the show for that reason. Basically, it's a thriller, and that's all I'll say about it. I just thought the way that the twist was revealed was really well done because I totally did not see that coming. I feel like it's one of the best twists I've seen on a television show in a really long time. It's like after that I saw that twist, I couldn't not think about it for the next like 5 minutes. It was like so incredibly good and it was so well done, and it's just very unpredictable, this twist. And I know perhaps at this point I'm probably hyping up this twist, but I feel like this is a twist that deserves a lot of hype. I think if you watch the first episode and you see what the twist is, that you'll be like disappointed that it wasn't as big of a twist as you thought. Like, this is a huge twist, and if it's not as big of a twist as you were hoping, I'm sorry. I found this twist to be so incredible. I cannot stop thinking about that twist. It was just so well done. It was so well done. And now moving on to the next category, which is Best Television Episode of 2025. And that would go to Episode 5 of Heated Rivalry on HBO Max. Episode 5 of Heated Rivalry was not only my favorite episode of the season, but I also think it was one of the best episodes of the season as well. This is a show that takes place over the course of several years, and there's a lot of time jumps within that time on the first 4 episodes. It was written in a way and made in a way that feels very fast-paced. The show is constantly moving, never really taking a moment to stop. And then Episode 5 was finally that moment where the show kind of took a pause, and the characters kind of reflected on themselves and their relationships with each other. Shane and Iliad just had such a beautiful moment in this episode, especially when Shane talks to Iliad about, how he's feeling and about himself and about how he feels about Iliad, and everything about how this moment on the show was done was just so incredibly amazing. It was such a wonderful moment on the show. It was just like literally one of my favorite moments of the show. It was such a lovely, beautiful moment between these two characters. And also later in the episode, Iliad kind of has a similar moment with Shane over the phone where he's talking about, how he is feeling and his true feelings for Shane as well. And this was just such an amazing episode. Definitely an episode on television series that you really don't forget about. Usually with TV shows that you like, you might remember like the series as a whole, but you don't really remember like individual episodes. And this is definitely one of those times when you remember this individual episode on this amazing show. And I just love this show so much, and so I knew I had to talk about it and include it in this video. Now moving on to the last category, which is for a TV show that I could literally watch every day, and that television show would go to The Cheer Company on HBO. I've talked about the show a few times on my channel now, and I just love this show so much. It's literally a show, like I said, I could watch every day, and I kind of do. I kind of watch at least one episode now every day. It's kind of like a comfort show for me now. It's like a weird, odd comfort show. I watched season 1 at this point like so many times. Something I rarely do, which is watch a television show over and over and over again. I just never have felt the need to do that, but I love this show so much that like I just want to watch it again and again and again. It's just the best. I love it. And I will not shut up about this show and how great it is because it's literally one of my favorite shows of the year. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope to help you discover a new TV show or two along the way as well. And until next time, bye.